Every scout in professional baseball uses the same grading system. Let me explain. Chad Hermanson, former first round draft pick, played 13 years professional baseball, and I was able to scout for 8 years with the Angels. So there's a 20 to 80 scouting scale, and this is how every scout is grading your athlete when he or she sits down in those stands. So here's where you start. I was taught to understand what 50 is. What's an average? So on that scale, that's your anchor. And really everything builds from there. So below 50, we go 40 is below average, 30 is well below average, and 20 is poor. Above 50, right, we have our 60, which is above average, 70 is well above average, and 80 is outstanding. 80, of course, is the highest grade that you can get. Now, here's where things get interesting. Every tool gets two grades. There's a present grade, and then there's a future grade. So let's say I'm watching a 17-year-old hitter. He's talented. He's likely the best hitter in the state, maybe on the West Coast. But if I put him in the big leagues today, his hit tool, right, his average is probably going to be a 20 and likely even less than. It likely won't even register. Let's say if we gave him 100 at bats, for example, he probably doesn't get 10 hits. So it really doesn't even register yet because we're measuring him against big league pitching and the average. We're not really throwing 17-year-olds in the big leagues, right? But what we're doing, of course, is we're projecting on that same kid 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now. So maybe that 20 becomes a 60. That's what scouts are really doing. We're not just grading, today who the player is. We're grading who we believe that player is going to become. And of course, those are all the tools, right? They have to have tools that's going to lead us down the path. Now, one more thing, there's tweener grades. So there's the 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75. But for now, we just want to keep it simple and understand the scale. But the 50, right, is the baseline. So here's what that scale can never measure, though, of the 20 to 80 scale. And it doesn't really show up on the scout sheet. That's the mental game. How does your athlete handle a bad at bat? Maybe a bad outing on the mound. If a scout's sitting right behind home plate, does that affect him? That's not really a measurable on a 20 to 80 scale thing, but it affects every single tool on that sheet. So that's what I work on with parents and with athletes, and that's really what this series is all about. Now, in the next video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how scouts evaluate a hitter. I'm going to be looking at all the tools. They have the hit tool, power tool, etc. So follow if you want to continue this series with me. And I'm curious, let's do a little test. If you had to grade your athlete's best tool, hitting, fielding, throwing, running, what would you give them and why? Right? I'm going to read every single one of them. So again,